If you're wondering which region in Italy to have your wedding, you need to think about these 6 things. Ciao, I'm Lucy, I'm an Italian wedding planner and the founder of Lista.com, and I've planned hundreds of Italian weddings. I would love to share what I know so that you can have a calm and enjoyable wedding planning experience. This week we're talking about Italian regions for your wedding, and I'm going to break down the things that you need to think about when you're considering each region. I'm also going to talk about why certain regions are so popular. The first thing is aesthetics. Each region looks really different. The rolling hills of Tuscany, the Amalfi Coast backdrop, the choppy stacks and cliffs of Sicily. Every part of Italy has such a different aesthetic. So you need to think about what you imagine your wedding to look like. I find that most couples know what they want. They've imagined that epic backdrop of the Tuscan hills. They've thought about driving along on a boat on the lakes. You need to tap into this and see what aesthetic is really going to suit your vibe. The second thing is logistics. So each region is set up really differently. They have different ranges and types of suppliers and logistics. Some have loads more windy roads and less transport options. Some are really hard for suppliers to access, which can end up costing you more if you look up Facchinaggio. In Como and Amalfi, for example, they are absolutely gorgeous, but they're really hard to get around. You'll see your guests climbing loads of stairs, even cliffs, and that means that all your suppliers are going to be transporting equipment up and down for these weddings, and it costs more because it adds lots more complication. The third thing is your guest travel. Can your guests actually travel there easily? Are there direct and regular flights? How far are the venues from an airport? The lakes, for example, are just an hour from Milan. Once you actually get to the lakes, it's another story because the geography and the windy roads adds a load more travel time. The fourth thing is the weather. Now, it looks like the world is heating up, so bear this in mind when choosing your region. Sadly, in the peak summer months, Puglia and Sicily had wildfires in 22, so if you want to go south, you need to think about maybe going a little bit earlier in the year. This offers opportunities to maybe have more of a spring wedding or kind of a wedding on the arc of the season. In Tuscany in 2022, where I predominantly work, we had loads and loads of storms, so it's not guaranteed that your weather is going to be okay, so please do consider this when you're planning. The fifth thing to think about is the price. Each region has its own structure and format of weddings, and when it comes to prices, they can all vary. To be honest, there's kind of rumours or myths maybe around certain areas costing more or less. Puglia and Tuscany and Umbria, I'd say, are on par and they have quite a similar offering. The prices are quite evenly matched and the types of suppliers you get are quite similar. When it comes to Amalfi, Rome and Como, they have a different wedding setup, so they're more day rentals and the costs generally are elevated. So you can kind of break these regions into these different groups and do different styles of weddings at them. That kind of Puglia, Tuscany and Umbria group, they're more of the kind of 3-night stays where you have 3 different events and you can do lots of different things. As I said, Amalfi, Rome, Como, Venice, they tend to be day rentals. The final nuance that I wanted to touch on for the regions is the food and the cultural differences. So that slow Italian style that you hear about, that kind of slow replies and just laid back atmosphere, the more south you go, the more that increases. So consider that when you're thinking of planning your wedding. If you're someone that's really organised and likes to know where they are and likes quick replies, I would not go for Sicily or Puglia for your wedding unless you have a really good wedding planner, which you'll find on lalista.com. There are other nuances of cultural differences that can really make your wedding so fantastic, and one of those is obviously going to be food. Every region has its specialities, and you'll know it's like going to a different country for every different region that you're in Italy, and that offers really cool personalisation of your wedding. All of these little touches can make such a big difference to how your wedding looks, tastes and feels. So the top regions that I see for weddings are usually Tuscany and Amalfi. I think the stats are that that's where the most weddings happen in Italy. Upcoming or increasing in the number of weddings is Puglia and Umbria, both wonderful regions for weddings, a little bit different in terms of transport to get to. And then Como and Sicily. Sicily, again, being talked about more and more and more. Personally, absolutely adore Sicily, but it is a bit harder to get to and it's quite expensive. I think it surprises people how expensive it can be to have a wedding there. And you could consider some of these. So Le Marche, which is just next door to Tuscany, is a beautiful region and it has all of the wonderful nuances that I've mentioned. Different food, an amazing coastline, amazing wine. It just has less weddings, so it's just a little bit behind in terms of pricing, and arguably it will offer you less options when it comes to choosing your suppliers. They are less equipped in doing weddings, but that's not a bad thing. Then there's the Dolomites, absolutely amazing region, really different vibe for a wedding. Piedmont and the north, absolutely gorgeous. Again, rolling hills, vineyards, a slightly cooler climate maybe, which is good for the summer. Really amazing, grand villas, absolutely amazing. And other cities like Venice, you know, you've got loads of amazing cities in Italy. Milan, there's these gorgeous venues in the centre of the cities. They're very grand and they're a very different style of wedding. But isn't Italy just incredible that you can just have so many different styles and shapes of weddings across one single country? I just absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I've got a favour to ask you. I really want to reach more couples that are in your shoes planning an Italian wedding, and I'll do that by you subscribing to this. So please subscribe and comment below. Let me know where you're getting married, and don't forget to come over to lalista.com and see loads more advice. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.